Record. Done.
Boom, baby. Welcome to episode whatever it is.
We've just stopped in totality of finding that. I don't know. I think we're on 26. This might be 20. I don't know.
It's close. It's close. I'm really proud of us.
I am
Also,
super proud of us. Yeah.
guys,
Cheers to podcast. We got
cheers.
our coffees. There you go.
Cling. We
Cling.
both have our metallic coffee mugs ready.
Yeah.
And you know why we're drinking coffee? Because we are shooting early today. So you
Yes.
best buckle up because
Yes.
this is going to be phenomenal.
We might be a little bit more wiry than usual too, because we haven't been kind of weighed down by the to-do lists. But yes.
I'm telling you, I sometimes I wish we were available at this time all the time because all of the ideas are just flowing through my brain.
True, man. I really feel like in the mornings my head's like a pot of coffee, and at the end of the day, it's like the sludge at the bottom of the coffee.
Yeah. For those who don't know, we regularly record right at nap time. So
yeah.
Like I want to be napping. So my brain is
our nap time.
Yeah. So I asked Rob to start recording immediatally because I wanted you guys to get the raw Rob and Travis like straight up shooting the breeze.
You go.
Because this is us, and you want dads in real life, don't you?
Yeah.
That's why you clicked on the link. So
clearly, that's
I am. This is the first time I've drank black coffee in quite a while. I've been going espresso route because it's just been so consistent. But I gotta say, I'm really happy with this cup. I've been let down by quite a few of I made the coffee, I guess, wrong. I don't know. But it's also accompanied by a cinnamon roll from BJ Cinnamon, the greatest manufacturer of cinnamon rolls in the area. So
that's a good pairing. You know what? That is a really good pairing. And I must say, I agree with you on the whole coffee thing because I'm usually an espresso guy in the morning, but there's something to be said about quantity too, right? Like that's the thing about espresso is you can't sip on it, right? It's not going to last you for 20 minutes. It's literally 2 gulps and you're done. So there's usually a later in the afternoon follow up to that. But I do enjoy the espresso, but quantity goes a long way.
And you have to start calling it the real word, espresso? Rob. You have to be saying espresso.
I keep saying espresso, but it's espresso.
And I love you for it. Don't worry.
You know what? I wonder if I started picking that up because I'm wondering if I'm doing that because my kids call it that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I thought too. Yeah. But now I have so many people in my life that are like,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, I got some espresso the other day, and I'm like, good.
Is it because they do it fast? No, that's not what it is. It's not espresso.
Technically, you could say it makes you fast, but technically, espresso has the least amount of caffeine compared to.
That is also true.
A cup of coffee, or like cold brew has the most.
That's why I go for that cold brew as a pre-workout in the afternoon. That's my go-to. Well, not afternoon. There's definitely a cutoff time, but I'd say 11 or 12. That's when I'm drinking the cold brew.
Yeah. And this cinnamon roll is so good, I can't let it go to waste. So I'm going to eat while we talk, and that's what you guys get.
That's fine.
But hey, first things first for this episode, I want to play a game, and I finally figured it out, and I got it right. So I got to give credit where credit is due, and maybe they're ripping it off from someone else, or if they created it, I love their brains. There's another podcast out there called The Freddy Show, and they make up. This is where I got that game of the say the same word.
I got you. Okay.
So they do this other one. That I want to do, this is perfect for road trips. So this is ultimate dad move, honestly. I think this is great for road trips, great for family gatherings.
Take notes, everybody.
I'm starting to test it. I'm starting to test it out this summer. We're going to see where it takes us. But it's quick, easy, not a big commitment.
Awesome. I'll do the same. I'll do the same and report back this summer. I'll do the same.
Yeah. And I'm actually going to say it probably, I don't know. We'll have to see how it works with kids. My kids, probably they're going to be no. You could scale it, but here's the game. So I have a word that I have guessed, or that I'm thinking of. You have to guess the word, and I'm going to tell you how close you are based on a scale from 1 to 100. So For example,
Is this
say
gonna
my
last
word,
all
say my
summer? Is
word.
this one game gonna last all summer? That's what I
No,
just
no,
want
no,
to know.
no, no. You're gonna
Okay.
do great. I know you're
Okay.
gonna do great. Okay.
Okay.
But I'm also gonna make it a little bit hard because you're Rob and you can handle it.
That's
Okay.
true.
So like let's say my word is banana.
Mm-hmm.
And so you start off and you're like, okay, I'm gonna say stick shift. I'm gonna be like 2. And you're gonna be like, okay, what like lunch? I'm gonna be like, 40. And you'll be
Gotcha.
like,
So it's
okay,
kind of
okay,
like
okay.
hot, cold, right? Like
Yeah.
when you're playing hide and seek. Oh, are you hot or are you cold? Really cold. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Basically,
Gotcha.
it's that,
I
you know.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have a word. So you
Gotcha.
start and let's
Okay.
see how fast we can do this.
Is it something you eat?
No, you don't ask. You
Oh,
guess the
okay.
word.
Food.
Um that's very generic. I'm gonna say like a 5. 5.
Okay. If it's not food, vacation.
20.
20. Okay. Transportation.
2.
Okay. So we got vacation. The lake.
Like 21.
Okay, we're making progress here, people. We just went from 20 to 21.
Don't worry, you're gonna hit one, and then it's gonna skyrocket you. And you're
20 minutes later.
starts
Not gonna
with
go.
an I.
It's an iguana.
Yes.
Man,
Okay.
that's a good. You know what? That's a
Okay.
good summer car ride.
Yeah,
I'm
and
gonna
I mean,
use
if you
that
have
one.
a group of people, this is what
I'm
I'm
gonna use
saying.
that one.
You
And
know.
for my kids' age, that's actually like Monte Bene. It's like that's really where we want to be. So that's perfect. And you could definitely scale that down, right? You could
Yes.
definitely scale that down.
Yeah.
So
It's adaptable, but yeah, and it could. Yeah, see, that took us a while, but
that
you know.
that took us all 15 minutes of this recording. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
So you know,
But
but
it's not
hey, it
bad.
gets
No,
people
that's
thinking. It gets people thinking, and I have plenty of topics and things that we can talk about
that's
that
the
are
perfect thing.
perfect for this episode. We
Okay.
went a little long, but that's okay.
No.
Maybe
We
people
hey,
join
I'm
in
gonna
with
chop it
us.
up. I'm chopping it up. We're good.
There you go. So,
That was good, man. Hey, next
yeah,
episode, my turn. I'm then you got to guess.
yeah. I mean, I really want you to do one for me too. So
Yeah,
we'll get it.
we'll get
So you want light kind of topic, or do you want to get a little more philosophical? What you feeling right
You
now?
know what? I've had my coffee, so it can go either way, right?
Hmm.
I think later in the afternoons, philosophical may work, but you might get like the abbreviated version of it. But
Yep.
no, I'm good. Whatever you want to do, man.
All right.
I'm good to go. I had
All
my
right.
coffee, so I'm good.
We'll go with a little bit of one with a little bit of flex, but also a little bit of philosophical.
Okay, let's go.
And
I
we'll go
like
with
the
that.
ones where we talk not only giving examples of our life experience, but like our points of view. And I know we're like
Yeah.
6 degrees different, but we're still pretty similar. So
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff for me, that's what I look forward to listening to, because it might be a obstacle or a thought that is on the same track, but we're like a couple steps different. You know what I mean? So I like those topics.
For sure. For sure. So this one doesn't necessarily apply to fatherhood,
Awesome.
but
Yeah,
it's still worth the conversation.
let's do it.
And so the topic of the day is everything seems to be in this day and age because it's becoming individualized,
Mhm.
right? We are getting tighter and tighter and tighter into this like silo of like it's just me, or it's just me
Dividing and
and my
dividing.
family. It's
Mhm.
just like that. And so I was curious, what effect do we think will that have on the future if we don't be intentional? Yeah, sure, as fathers, as individuals, how do we kind of fight against that? Because I don't
Mhm.
see that going anywhere good. Like,
I
and I was
agree.
trying to think of examples, right? So maybe I'm gonna read some that I was thinking of that I just noted before
Yeah.
we started here, and then you tell me what you can think of. But
Yeah.
for example, like right now, I think like Europe has a leg on us when it comes to like communal transportation, Like
Mhm.
everybody's like taking the subway, the train. Like you're in a space with other people, and you're having to
Mhm.
do life next to someone, like a
Mhm.
stranger, someone.
Mhm.
But here we drive our own vehicles.
Mhm.
Like there's incentive, like it's incentivized to carpool, right? Like to get an
Mhm.
extra person in the car. But even that, like a lot of people just don't want to do because
Mhm.
you don't have control. You lose the sense of control.
Yeah.
So like, oh, if I go with someone, then I got to leave when they do.
Mhm.
School buses, like I feel like not as many kids these days are taking the bus.
Yep.
So it kind of goes with the driving thing, right? Like I want my autonomy with that. Um, you listen to your own music,
Mhm.
right? Like before you, I mean, like you could go as far back as like saying like we didn't have headphones, so you were playing something communally, or you had the radio where everybody was listening to same sets of things. And
Mhm.
so there were those genres or those like popular songs because of the radio, which
Mhm.
you're like almost steering almost clear away from because of Spotify and everything, which I'm not complaining about Spotify. I'm just saying like
Mhm.
this is interesting. But then you could go so far back as to say like people used to have to entertain themselves with other skilled individuals. Like you needed to have people who were musicians and things
Mhm.
like, and so like none of that is required anymore. You just bloop. Um, I honestly, I really want to have a point where at the end of my work shift, we're like singing a song together, like yo ho Pirates Life for me, like as we finish the day,
Yeah.
like people don't like sing together. That's like from way in the back in the
Yeah.
past, right? So like that's not a thing. Like no more communal space there. I get that's scary all that, but media consumption in general, like it used to be like everybody's watching the same stuff. Like
Mhm.
you had like at 6 p.m. the news is on, and like you
Mhm.
were watching that. Now it's all streaming, so everybody has their individual thing that they can watch at any point in time. Like yes, there are the trending things, but those are here and gone, and you're by yourself. You're like
No.
in a silo again.
Mhm.
I'm thinking about Amazon. Like we barely go shopping together anymore. Like you can have anything shipped to your house. You can have your groceries shipped to your house. Like so, again, there's like a plus side of everything, which is the tricky thing. Is like, oh, but that's helpful, time saving. It's efficient,
Mhm.
or maybe it's not efficient. Like, but then there's like that shadow side to every single one of those that I can think of, like waste and um yeah, like
Yeah.
you're like, but I want to focus on individualism. Like we're siloing. So what
Yeah.
comes to mind?
Well, first off, like I totally agree with you, and I think it's important to talk about like perspective, right? So when we discussing, especially with the individualization of what's happening right now, that's just our points of view. So my life, right? What I see, my friends, my circle of influence, so to speak. And so one of the things is I would agree. I think for me, what I pull from is my own life experience and kind of our like pillars as a family. And I really do believe in it takes a village. And I think that does a couple things. I think one, decision fatigue, right? So when you are so individualized and you have kind of like a billion decisions to make a day because there's options now, that affects your mental health. And I think by doing everything solo, we're going to see more and more kind of the trickle down effect for mental health, both within the family, group setting, stuff like that. Um, and I think it's culture, right? I think in this kind of Western culture, we kind of
Yes,
idolize the ability to do
absolutely.
everything by ourselves,
Yep.
which is great in a sense, but I
As a
think
tool, like there are
yeah,
things like skills that you can have.
but I think when we start to pull away from the pack, yes, people can, and I've seen it before, argue the independence, which again, this is just my perspective, but things become easier in a community aspect where we're not all jack of all trades, where we all have our strengths and weaknesses. And so what that does is it alleviates the stress of becoming a jack of all trades.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I don't need to learn everything. I can rely on Travis to do X, Y, and Z, and I can rely on Mo to do ABC. And that alone will lower the amount of plates in the air, so to speak, right? So I think with this big push of kind of idolizing independence, again, I think there's going to be a counter to that, but I think what we'll see is more of the mental health thing. And I just think it's like, I don't know, for me, what I've seen over the last couple decades is a sense of I am the main character in my own storyline, and
Yeah.
everyone
Yeah.
else is a supporting character. And
Mm.
I always use this example, the person in Starbucks with the earbuds on a call, but like literally having a conference call, like nobody else is there, and you're like, is anybody else hearing this? Like, does he know this is not the Matrix and like we're
Yeah.
real people? And I think I think it's how I was raised, the culture I was raised, where you live with other families and other communities, and that sense of safety within that community is a big thing. We talked about another podcast, being able to ride your bike down your neighborhood, hang out
Yeah.
with your neighborhood friends, like that communal aspect of it. And I think as we've grown as a culture, we've wanted more, and part of that wanting more is independence. So yeah, I really think we're going to see more of a mental health backlash and decision fatigue backlash, and but then again, like everything, I think it's cyclical. So I think there'll be a time where we pull together again
That pendulum
because of
swings
the
back.
yeah, because of the harsh reality of, man, this is really hard, right? Doing everything on my own is really hard. And I kind of want to go back to not doing everything on my own or for me. And so, yeah, I think there's been this uptick, of course, in the last decade of me. But I'm starting to see me fatigue. And I know me personally that I've definitely climbed that ladder of me, and it got tiring, man. My shoulders got heavy. And so then you realize there are so many benefits to relying on others and having that communal aspect and having that good pod of friends that you can lean on and having that church community that you're part of. And I think we're going to see, I don't know when, but I think we're going to see that pendulum kind of swing back.
You're tapping into something that is also like an interesting like challenge that we face, and that especially as dads, I think it requires humility to step into that space,
Oh,
to not to say I don't know how to do these things, and like and somebody could help me. That's another thing. A lot of us aren't willing to ask too, because it feels in this day right now in our culture, like it feels like you're imposing
mhm.
to ask like for help
Yeah.
or to ask for
Or I
um
know from my, as a man growing up in a culture of like alphas, it seems almost not demoralizing, but it's like I'm deficient. If I'm
yeah, like
not
you have a
able to
weakness, like
solve
you don't
that
know how to
problem,
do that. Yeah.
yeah, if I don't know how to solve this problem, then I either fake it till I make it, or sometimes the ship goes down with the captain, right? Like I'd rather go down with the ship than ask for help, right? Or ask for a break, right? And so, yeah, I think humility is a big part of it. I think humility is a big part of it, and it's something I think, at least in my experience, has kind of been put on the back burner, right? As far as like things that I want to achieve or express in my day to day or in my life.
Yeah, I mean, because it's I was just thinking of the example of like it's far and few between now that I feel like people are willing to ask for help,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of times it seems like I guess like maybe something that we could practice or something that I've enjoyed trying to think of
Mm-hmm.
is just like, oh, how is a way that I can just like basically like this is a bad way to say it, but like impose my help upon someone, like in the sense of like, hey, like I see this is like this, and this is another thing. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
stepping back and not thinking about so much about myself, and I'm thinking more about the community, at least in some point where I can see there's a need, and
Yes.
let me fill that. Let me help. Like I and actually it brought me joy. Like a little while ago, a friend of mine was like, our sink's not working. It's like it's something's wrong with it. and could you take a peek at it? Because
Mhm.
you've done some stuff, right? Like plumbing wise. I was like, yeah. And I looked at it and I was like, oh yeah, like you just need a new faucet. And
Mhm.
like, and they were like, oh yeah, like we could probably, I wonder how much that would cost. And I'm like, let me do it. I'm
Yeah,
doing it. Like I'm coming over tomorrow. You order that thing, order
and
it,
I'll
and
and
I'm
I'll put it
coming.
on. Exactly.
And so it was just like and that brought me joy because I'm like, I know how to do this and I can fix this quickly. And they were humble enough and like willing enough to just like to allow me that brought me joy, and it brought
Mhm.
them joy because they're like, we don't want to deal with this and it's saving us money, this is great, like, well, and there's always this pull. I'm jumping all over the place right now.
No,
There's
I
this
got
pull
you.
to
I
like,
got you.
like, oh well, now it's like I have to pay you back in some way, shape, or form. Like, no, like that was just that brought me joy to be able to help you in that way.
Yeah, but you know what? I think well, I'm gonna jump around too, but I
Yeah,
think,
yeah,
last in, first out. So, I think culturally, that's what we were taught, right? Like, if you scratch my back, now I owe you something, and I think we need to change that, right? But I also think
yes,
that's part of the culture. So, I think that'll take some time to change, but
yeah.
at the same point, like, example-wise, like, we've been in the same neighborhood probably 2 decades, and being able to turn the spotlight or the lens outwardly versus inwardly takes practice and deliberate practice in that fact. So in our neighborhood over the years, we've seen families come and go, but now there's like this new crop of littles like in the neighborhood, and our kids are a little bit older. And to be able to be there when there's a need that those parents don't know yet, right? Because they're still like so young in the kid stuff. Just for instance, like opening up the garage door and having the 2-year-old run over and play with our kids, and then the moms put out the folding chairs and just kind of like decompress, right? So that's feeling a need that
Yeah.
they may not know it's there, but it's because we know, right? We know how much of a help just being present and watching over other kids. But again, that's that community aspect, right? So I think it's going to take practice, and I think the fact that we don't do it enough, right, makes us kind of shy to impose our service. But the one thing I wanted to capture on is I don't think enough people have experienced the joy of helping someone else with no sense of return on investment, right? Like
Mm,
just the fact that your expertise allows you to do something in such a efficient and short amount of time that it would have taken someone 10x, 100x investment to do. For you, it doesn't take that long of investment, even though you've been practicing your entire life, so to speak. But just that light bulb or that one less thing we need to worry about, it's so fulfilling. But that comes with a community aspect, that culture of wanting to uh, protect and serve the tribe, so to speak, right? And so we have that in our neighborhood, and it's great. Like, we have elderly, we have newborns, and our girls will walk dogs, check in on grandpa down the street, right?
yeah.
And so I think by cultivating that environment as adults, our kids start to see it. So I'm hoping that becomes the change down the line. That's what's going to swing the pendulum, is that we're making and in the beginning it was a lot of effort because our neighbors like, why do you want to walk our dog? It's like, well, I know your kids are away on vacation because they're older and you're a little bit older, and my kids want a dog, but we don't want to get a dog. So how about we walk your dog this summer? Right. So it's one of those things that it takes time for people to like let down their their boundaries a little bit, knowing that
Yeah.
we're in this ride together, right? And
Yeah.
the sooner we realize that, the less I think stress a lot of those small things that could really be solved, like the plumbing example, by your neighbor, right? Like love thy neighbor, like that's the example right there, right?
Yeah. 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 And I mean, we, I think we've been so used to it lately being so siloed. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
keep using that word, but like with social media, we feel this connection, but we don't actually have it. And then you start to like, I feel like there's just like all sorts of stuff that's being spit at you there that's just like fear based, and
Hmm.
like you forget that like there's just a bunch of other humans living around you. And
Yeah.
like it's great. That's awesome to hear. Like you're breaking down barriers of people like who might think like, like I don't know, and like no, you could like let's like we have to you give a little, you get a little, but like
Yeah.
we can trust
Yes.
other people,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there's that's a gift, and
Yeah.
like so
Yeah, I really think, like you mentioned with social media, it's one of the reasons why like our kids are not really on it. I'm not really on it that much, except for posting like podcasts and update stuff. And the reason being is one of the things that we try to teach the girls, and I know this is not like a dad topic, but I always reference back just because literally the kids are starting summer and we have this big tech talk, is that, you are where you put your attention. So if you're always on social media and the fear mongering and the woe is me, that's going to elicit a reality that probably isn't true, but now
yeah,
is a reality, right?
yeah,
You believe what you see, so to speak. And so, like you said, like before, the 7 o'clock news was the same wide, broad stroke of news we all got growing up, right? True or false, at least it was the same menu. Whereas
yeah,
now, like I don't know. It really is like the movie The Matrix, right? Like I don't know what to believe because
it's
everyone is a news
crazy.
reporter. Yeah.
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
for me, stepping back down, like I always joke with Mo, it's like I wish we had flip phones again. Like because I would call a friend versus check their social media to see how they're doing. Right.
yes,
So stuff like
yes.
that. So I like you said, I think it's culture, I think it's environment, but it's going to take effort. And I really think the pendulum will swing with us and what we do with the next generation.
That's a big weight on our shoulders, but also it's not
Mm.
actually that weighty if you think about it,
No,
You just gotta
no.
it takes just a little bit of courage to step out there and you know
And you
and
know what? You
like,
you don't understand the impact that has on others because we
no,
live in our own silo, right? Like we
that's
don't know
right.
that impact until you start doing it. But then once you start doing it and you experience the fulfillment and just the old sayings like, "Hey, do you have a cup of sugar? Or do you have any eggs?" Like we don't go to our neighbors anymore and ask for that. And that's a real simple ask, right?
Yeah,
And so we're starting to build that here. I know where I'm at, and I know you guys have the same thing near you. And I
yeah.
think if more people would just like reach out, summer days is great, especially if you have kids. Like literally, all of our garages face each other. As soon as one garage opens, five other garages open, right? Because they know. And there's something to be said
Love
about
that.
that community. But like you said, I think it's on us, but we're already doing it. Think about it. You're already shepherding your kids either way, either
Hmm.
way.
Yeah,
And so why not, shepherd them towards more of that community aspect for all the right reasons, right?
absolutely, absolutely. I love that. Well, and I think there's so many different like side little
Oh,
conversations we
side
could have
quest with
about
that.
that.
Yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
for sure. But I love it. I love that, and I feel like for the sake of our time, we could cut it there today
Yeah.
and continue the conversation
Yeah.
about
I
what
think
it
there'll be a
looks
couple
like
spin-offs for sure.
to be a good neighbor,
Hmm.
to how to bring your kids into those opportunities.
Yeah.
As the seasons change, I know that is different. Your kids, when your kids are older, they have the ability to be responsible and do certain things. When they're younger, they might not catch it all, but at least they're seeing it.
Hmm.
There's a lot
Yeah.
there.
And I think,
So
yeah, like you said, I think as this episode is coming to an end, and what's practical, and that's something that I've been working on. It's like, okay, these are all great ideas, but like how and what, And so like if you're listening to this and you want to build that community, like start where your feet are at, like literally your neighbors. Like you'd be surprised how many people don't know their neighbors, like they're literally right next door or in their cul-de-sac. And so I challenge you guys this summer, right? Maybe go door to door, knock, introduce yourself, and use it as a way, non-invasive, right? And we did this years ago. It's like, hey, we're just creating a list of all our neighbors in case of emergency, right? Maybe you're a great grandpa living in our neighborhood. Maybe you have a newborn. And if you needed help, we're creating a list of all the contacts in our neighborhood, right? So that you can reach out because maybe you can't reach your grandson. Maybe you can't reach your spouse, but you know that there's going to be a high probability that one of your neighbors are home. So we used that as a way to kind of introduce ourselves to our neighborhood. But not only that, that
mm,
list got spread out to everyone. And that's a huge kind of barrier breaker, right? So now it's like, no, I know Rob lives at this address. I have his number. So if I do need help, right, I know he's good at plumbing. So I'm gonna give him a call, stuff like that. That was our first step. And then we do powwows too. We know there's little kids. So the beginning of the summer, we have a little pool party in the neighborhood. Everyone brings a potluck. It doesn't take much. And the worst thing that's going to happen is someone says no.
Yep.
That's it.
No
That's the
skin
worst.
off your back.
No, that's the worst.
Well,
That's the
they don't
worst
want to
case
be a
scenario.
part of the party. That's fine.
Awesome. But you don't want to let a no stop you from growing that community, right?
For sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, that was always a question that I was asked in the past, has been like, do you know the names of the neighbors all just touching your house, like around? And that's what we've tried to do, just at first, just to at least we know all of these. So yeah. And then like, what is something, a question you could ask yourself is, what is something that you do, like what is something you could just offer as like a peace offering, like just like a hey, we're here, you know. It's funny, the egg thing, you know, like we have chickens, so we got eggs.
Didn't even think about it. I forgot about that. Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
Yeah, let's just go bring some eggs to the neighbors, or like we got like this whole garden bed of lettuce. I love that just because it feels like such an old school thing. Like,
yeah,
here we brought our crop.
But you know what? But that's what works. That's what worked. The old school thing worked. That's how our great grandparents got to know their neighborhood. That's how the community supported each other, right? Was by having these little peace offerings, right? So no, Travis got eggs. If you're by Travis, he's got lots of eggs. So
that's right. Watch out. So yeah, I was gonna say something else that it's not important. It doesn't matter. So we'll just cap it at that. All right.
I was gonna say, and it kicks off another half an hour of talking.
As per the usual.
Yes.
We are not professionals.
No, we're not gurus.
We're just two dads in real life.